Welcome back, viewers and sci-fi lovers. Let me take you on a journey into the Victorian era, consumed in quantum chaos. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like, and bell icon for future entertainment and knowledge. Elias Thorne, a brilliant but somewhat reckless physicist of 2222, stood before his magnum opus, the Chronos Key. This wasn't your grandfather's DeLorean. The Chronos Key manipulated quantum entanglement to traverse the temporal currents. His goal: to witness the dawn of artificial intelligence firsthand. He calibrated the coordinates, a shiver of excitement, and perhaps a touch of hubris, running down his spine. The activation sequence hummed, the air around the Chronos Key shimmering as it tore a hole in the fabric of space-time. Elias plunged into the swirling vortex of the quantum realm, but something went horribly wrong. Instead of a clean temporal jump, the Chronos Key sputtered, its energy matrix destabilizing. Elias felt a bizarre sensation, a simultaneous pull forward and backward. His consciousness stretched thin across the temporal spectrum. He was a paradox embodied, existing in two moments at once, a ghost in the machine of time. Panic clawed at him. He fumbled for the temporal stabilizer, a palm-sized device designed as a failsafe. With a surge of desperate energy, he activated it. The stabilizer emitted a focused quantum wave, a counter-frequency to the chaotic oscillations ensnaring him. Reality snapped back into a semblance of order, the dual temporal streams collapsing. With a disorienting lurch, Elias materialized. The sterile white of his lab was gone, replaced by the damp chill and cobbled stones of a London alleyway. The air was thick with coal smoke and the cacophony of horse-drawn carriages. His advanced chronometer flickered erratically, finally settling on a date in the late 1880s. He had not only traveled through time, but due to the quantum entanglement malfunction, he had landed in a reality where time flowed forward, just like his own, but centuries in the past. His futuristic attire, a sleek silver jumpsuit, drew immediate bewildered stares. He quickly ducked into the shadows, realizing the monumental implications of his arrival. His technology, commonplace in his era, was beyond comprehension here. He was a walking anachronism, a potential disruptor of the very timeline he had sought to observe. Fate, it seemed, had a peculiar sense of humor. As Elias tried to orient himself, he overheard hushed whispers in a nearby tavern, talk of a series of unsettling incidents in the Whitechapel district. The name Jack was uttered with fear and morbid fascination. Elias's mind raced. This was it. The era of Jack the Ripper. His path soon crossed with another figure, one instantly recognizable even in this bewildering era. A tall, lean man with piercing eyes and an air of keen intellect. Sherlock Holmes, accompanied by his steadfast companion Dr. Watson, was deeply engrossed in the very mysteries that had the city in its grip. Elias, using his advanced knowledge of forensic science, albeit carefully veiled, found himself drawn into their orbit. He presented himself as a peculiar traveler with unusual insights, careful not to reveal the true extent of his origins or technology. Holmes, ever the astute observer, was intrigued by Elias's unconventional methods and startlingly accurate deductions, even if he couldn't quite place the source of his knowledge. Together, they investigated perplexing cases, not just the Ripper's shadow, which loomed large, but also intricate puzzles of theft, deception, and even early forms of industrial espionage. Elias's subtle use of his future knowledge, understanding rudimentary fingerprint analysis, predicting technological limitations, Even his intuitive grasp of human psychology, honed by centuries of AI interaction, proved invaluable. He helped Holmes see patterns others missed, offering perspectives shaped by a future they couldn't imagine. He encountered other luminaries of the age, the sharp wit of Oscar Wilde, the burgeoning scientific inquiries of figures like Thomas Huxley, the social activism of individuals fighting for change. Each interaction, each carefully chosen word, subtly nudged the Victorian era in a direction ever so slightly different from his original timeline. A chance remark about sanitation led to earlier public health reforms in one district. A casual observation about electrical potential sparked a new avenue of inquiry for a budding inventor. The weight of his actions pressed upon Elias. He wasn't just an observer. He was an agent of change, however unintentional. The timeline he had known, the future he longed to return to, and where his wife and children existed, was diverging with every breath he took in this new reality. His primary focus, however, remained finding a way back. He secretly worked on adapting components from his damaged Chronos Key, scavenging materials from this era that could be repurposed. The limitations were immense, the technological gap, a chasm. One evening, as he and Holmes discussed the baffling inconsistencies in a seemingly simple robbery, a breakthrough occurred. Elias realized that the quantum entanglement that had fractured his temporal journey might be reversible, not by replicating his machine, but by creating a localized temporal anomaly, a controlled tear in the fabric of this altered timeline that could, theoretically, slingshot him back. The device he envisioned was crude, but ingenious. A fusion of his future knowledge and Victorian-era engineering. With the clandestine help of a few open-minded and well-compensated inventors, he began construction. The day of his attempt was fraught with tension, as his makeshift device whirred and sparked in a hidden laboratory beneath a clockmaker's shop. Elias felt a pang of regret. He had grown accustomed to this strange, gaslit world, to the intellectual sparring with Holmes, to the subtle satisfaction of using his knowledge for good, even if it was altering history. The device reached critical mass, emitting a wave of energy that distorted the space around it. A shimmering portal, unstable and fleeting, opened before him. He knew this was his only chance. With a final nod to the bewildered clockmaker, Elias stepped into the swirling vortex. He felt the familiar tug of temporal displacement, but this time it was different. He wasn't fractured. He was being pulled, a single point in space-time, hurtling through the altered currents of this new timeline. He materialized back in his lab in 2222, the Chronos Key, inert but whole. His chronometer blinked, displaying the correct date and time. He was home. But the world felt subtly different. The advancements in certain fields were accelerated, while others lagged. The cultural nuances had shifted. He was in his time, in the direction his timeline flowed, but it was undeniably an alternate 2222, shaped by his Victorian sojourn. His wife, Anya, rushed to him, relief and concern etched on her face. His children, whom he had only known as infants before his ill-fated trip, looked at him with a mixture of curiosity and apprehension. They were his, yet the world they inhabited was not exactly the one he had left. Standing in his living room, holding his family, Elias Thorne faced a profound question. Was this the end of his journey? Had he traded his original timeline for this slightly skewed reality? Was he forever bound to the consequences of his temporal misadventure? The answer remained elusive. He was home, in the direction of his loved ones, but the path ahead was uncharted, a testament to the delicate and irreversible dance of time. The future he now faced was a direct consequence of his past, a past irrevocably intertwined with the gaslight and fog of Victorian London. Whether this was a new beginning or a permanent divergence, only time, flowing ever forward, would tell.